I have seen a lot of people complain about speeders. What I said. So, you watch out of the road here. So, I'm out knocking on doors, talking to voters. I'm Charles Van Morgan, running for Knoxville City Council, 1st District. And I've been trying to knock on doors a little later in the evening to survive the heat. This is much better. Trying, like, starting maybe about 7 o'clock or a little later and avoiding the hottest part of the day, and makes me feel a little better. So I've knocked on hundreds of doors today and showing you that radar device from the city of Knoxville. It is let people know to slow down. Here you can see it. And I'm hearing a lot about people concerned about speeding. And a man told me today that he was concerned about speeding. He had an interesting perspective because he just moved here from North Carolina and bought a house. And this road out in front of his house, he said he has grandkids over, and he's concerned about them getting hit by a car. He said cars speed up through here. But he did call the city police department. They had an officer out here for a day or so, and obviously they got the sign down there. And he said he requested speed humps. I call them speed bumps, but some of the neighbors weren't for them. So that's the type of thing where if you have a consensus in the area, then you can get them. I personally, myself, don't like them. If people in an area want them, then we can do that. There's other alternatives to the speed humps. There are signs in the middle of the road. As you see down there, the radar detection device showing people how far they're going. Also warnings, and law enforcement out. One of the problems is that law enforcement are afraid to do their job because if the mayor gets mad at them or the police chief gets mad at them, they can fire them for any little offense. They've changed the rules. It used to be you had a offense and you had a set schedule of discipline they could give you. If you wrecked a car, you got a day off, depending on the severity of it. If you had a bad interaction with a citizen where you obviously did the wrong thing, then you got like a verbal warning or up from there. But they had a list of penalties that you got for whatever offense, and you had an opportunity to contest the offense. And now the new chief and the mayor has changed it where it's political, and any offense, even a minor one, they can terminate you for. So they've got complete control, and all that does is the officers that lick their boots that are on their good side, and they could not even be doing a good job, have job security, and the ones that maybe they're out here doing a good job, but the chief don't like them, and they do something minor and he gets rid of them. And that's what happens. It's a boot licking instead of effective law enforcement. And we need to have the rules spelled out where people know what they're gonna get penalized for and what they're not, and the extent of the penalty. And we need to protect officers' jobs. Only get rid of the ones that are absolutely necessary to get rid of them. The ones that committed such flagrant offenses and criminal offenses where they get convicted in a court of law, then sure. But the ones that is just political, no. Sheriff's departments have merit councils to deal with that. In the city of Knoxville, they're gonna get rid of them. And what happens is every one of them will back up the city and whatever they say and do, regardless, and you'll have a bunch of followers, and the job won't get done like it's not getting done now with the issue of speeders here in the city of Knoxville. So that's one of the issues I'm hearing. I'm also hearing about the infrastructure. A lot of stuff being built without the roads necessary and the infrastructure necessary, the power grid, the sewage grid, and all the things necessary to take care of the infrastructure. And I'm personally concerned they're going to build a lot of apartment buildings, and all the single family homes that will be beneficial for 100 years from now will be zoned out. They won't be here anymore. And that's not what I would like to see Knoxville turn into. So I'm running for city council, a District 1 seat. I've got a lot of people running against me because it's an open seat. And I think they're sicking these hate groups on me because they think I'm going to win. They see how hard I'm working. You can see I'm out here in the heat. It's still hot, working from bell to bell. It's just after 9. I knocked on doors until 9 o'clock, which is the law. Legally I can. And there's some hate groups I want to talk about. One of them is Mothers for Freedom or something like that. I don't know what, but it's Mothers for Mass School Shootings is what it is, because one of their members threatened to shoot librarians, and they didn't even kick her out of the Moms for Freedom or whatever you call it. They didn't even kick her out of the organization. So that's all right with them to threaten mass shootings. And we know we got an issue with that, a problem with mass shootings. So all they are is a hate group. These people that are hate mongers pick a group that's popular, and they use a popular theme, which I'm for Moms for Freedom. Not the organization, but I think moms ought to have freedom in how their children are instructed in schools. And I think we need to protect our children from stuff that little children don't need to know about, their minds aren't mature about. I think we need to stick to reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I think that parents ought to be able to decide what school, private or public, their kids go to. But they pick these groups that's real popular, and they use that as a means to facilitate hate against certain people that they dislike, or they're just a bunch of haters. They want to go after people. And so they have decided that they're going to park on me, and they figured out, I hope they do, because it won't end up well for them. I'm not your candidate that cares about what you say about me, because I got a platform too, and I'll tell the truth about people. You are Mothers for Mass School Shootings is what you are. And I called you a specific name that I stand by, because I'll just read the definition of it again. Perjury and fraud to get something through a Tennessee courtroom that shouldn't have been given the weight of law to. That's obviously false, and I can prove it easily. People high up in the Highway Patrol committed perjury. Sergeant Johnson lied under oath. He ought to be in jail. The major that got all this started, Major Heatherly, is committing a criminal offense of stealing valor. She also is involved in a lot of theft of government funds. So I'm just saying, and it's not just me saying that, it's people that are retired high up in the Highway Patrol. So Mothers for Mass Shootings is trying to pick on me, but when the person you're trying to pick on is, you figure out they're the ones chasing you, because I won't tolerate that abuse of Tennesseans and Knoxvillians. And, you know, you're not going to get by with that with me. You're a bunch of lying pieces of dung, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The fact that you're not is pretty alarming, and all you're going to do is help me get my name out there more. And I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of God. What part of that do you not understand? I pray that God protects me from evil people like you. And He will. I believe that. So you're not bothering anybody but exposing yourself for the creeps that you are, because you don't represent moms. I was raised by a single mom. My mom would not have been involved with your group and your hate group. And then there's also another group that's a hate group, already been debunked. It's only, they don't put that part on there though, Black Lives Matter. Now they're using them to knock on doors for a candidate here in Knoxville. They're a hate group. I went to a rally in Chattanooga when I was campaigning for governor, and had a friend of mine with me. He just happens to be African American, black, which makes no difference to me. But we went to a Black Lives Matter rally, and I was trying to pass out my flyers running for public office, and all these people at the Black Lives Matter rally, even the white people at the rally, wouldn't take my flyer. Why is that? I'm going to tell you why in a minute. You can probably figure it out. And my friend behind me that just happens to be black, a black African-American, was handing out the same flyers, was handing out my flyers for me, right behind me. And the people that refused to take it from a white man were taking it from an African-American. Now, that just shows how prejudiced they are. They judged me by my color. So I'm saying racism works both ways. Black Lives Matter, only Black Lives Matter, is a racist organization. And if you vote my opponent in, she's using them to knock on doors, using them as volunteers. Black Lives Matter volunteers are knocking on your doors all over Knoxville, South Knoxville, Fort Sanders. You're going to get a racist organization running the city council. And I'm not racist. I believe John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Doesn't matter what color you are. They're racist. They care. They showed me what they thought. I'm just telling you what they did. If I had a black candidate running, I'd take their card and I might vote for an African-American. The right African-American female was running for president, I'd vote for them. I'm not prejudiced at all. They are against us. And Black Lives Matter has already been debunked as a thieving organization that took your contributions and used them frivolously for themselves. They're out here knocking on doors. And if you get them in the city council, we're going to be paying more reparations to any minority group that they think we ought to give our tax funds for, instead of fixing the homeless problem, instead of fixing the infrastructure, which includes the roads, instead of making the roads safer. And these other candidates, would you go to a heart surgeon that hadn't been to medical school and that hadn't passed any test about how to do heart surgery? These other candidates aren't qualified. One of them has a degree in English. It's not about dotting I's and crossing T's. Another one has a degree, but she doesn't have a doctorate degree in how to make laws, and I have a doctorate of jurisprudence. They're not qualified. And the other one that has a master's degree, I've got a master's degree too in criminology, is using Black Lives Matter to support her campaign. And the other one is out here lying about me, claims to be a Christian while she's lying about me, saying that she's the only candidate that listens to people. And if you notice, she's a little overweight, and I don't know how in the world she can knock on very many doors and listen to people. So I'm just saying, Christians not running down other people wrongly. That's what my mother used to tell me when I said something. Is it true? That's the basis I judge things on. Is it true? And the other candidates ought to think about that before they start promising the world and delivering nothing. Is it true? And that's how I think, and that's how I talk. A lot of the things I say that are true aren't pleasant, but is it true? And yes, it is, and it needs to be said. So in closing, God bless you all. I pray God loves you, and I do too. Until next time, Charles Van Morgan, YouTube Live. 2 minutes again, and vote for me August 6th early election. Call your friends, and we can beat all the big money liars. Thank you again. Bye-bye.